Great. There's no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic was tough. It turned our world upside down. It disrupted our routines, forced us to stay home, made us confront the fragility of life, and pushed us well beyond the limits of our comfort zone. But amid our collective fear and suffering, we learned to be kind and care for our neighbor. We slowed down, and as parents, we got to spend more time with our kids, in person and on Zoom. We focused more on our physical and mental health and learned to appreciate the smallest things, the ones we used to take for granted. We proved to ourselves how resilient we are, and we treated each other with compassion.
The pandemic affected us individually in different ways. There was no guidebook to know how to get through it, but collectively, there was a shift to our self-care, to give ourselves space and to be patient about our vulnerability in order to work through it. That focus on our mental health allowed us to grow, to get to know ourselves better, and work on our personal self-improvement. Remember, we don't have a vaccine for our mental health as we have for our physical health. I really hope that above all, this is the moment when we break down barriers to talk about mental health, because the most important thing we can do as professionals in our families and in our communities is to talk about it. So let's talk about it with our guest. Let's welcome our guest.
Yes. Please welcome with a warm applause Dr. Leila Nassif, an MSc LDN Dietary Department Manager at Clemenceau Medical Center, affiliated with Johns Hopkins. Dr. Leila earned her Master's of Science in Nutrition, Dietetics, and Food Service, and her Bachelor of Sciences in Biology and Life Sciences from the Lebanese University. Dr. Leila is an experienced clinical dietitian, critical care preceptor, and internship coordinator, providing patient counseling. She has been providing nutritional counseling for almost 10 years and has helped her clients to improve the quality of their lives. She is a strong believer in multidisciplinary teamwork for providing the best patient care. And she's a dynamic and skillful public speaker, coach, and instructor, and has been part of many national and regional interviews discussing health and nutrition topics. Welcome.
Hello. Also, let's welcome Dr. Marie Shaheen. She's a psychotherapist, clinical and school psychotherapist, psychological assessment for children, and courts expert. Welcome, Dr. Shaheen. Please have a seat.
Next, we would like to welcome Coach Dareen Amhaz, a certified entrepreneurship development training specialist, a TOT certified trainer, an ICF certified professional coach, a laughter yoga leader, a certified life coach, an LP practitioner with 15 years in educational fields. Welcome.
And finally, Coach Wael Jaber. Where are you, Coach?
I'm here.
Yeah, waiting. Wael is a partner and master friend. She is responsible for the international development of the Sport Performance Institute, SPA, the Canadian SPI, the Canadian Fitness and Sport Education Institute. He is the ACSM, American College of Sport Medicine. He is also a recognized speaker in several national and international health conferences and workshops. Wael also trained the Star Academy team, Middle East Season 3 and 4, and he was responsible of the live of the reality TV shows, while also a personal trainer and a holder of MBA, 25 certification in the area of fitness, 22 years of experience in teaching in the field, his bachelor degree in the physical education from the University of Ottawa, and his master in business administration is from the Lebanese American University. Please welcome our guests.
So, Dr. Leila, how has the pandemic changed our eating habits, nutrition, and lifestyles?
First of all, hello to everyone, and thank you for inviting me, for the organizer for inviting me here today. Well, as Rima said, it's very individual. So our daily habits, our eating patterns, as well as our weights and workout routines has been affected like differently by the pandemic. So research has found that the changes were somehow, some of the changes were positive. However, on the other sides, others were negative. And the changes to our eating habits were different from one to another. So some of the positive aspects that the pandemic facilitated were usually you're seeing families sharing meals together. Amidst this pandemic and the lockdown that was imposed to us. Also, research suggests that the fewer consumption of food outside home and the higher prevalence of in-house cooking resulted mainly in healthier food choices and a more frequent intake of vegetables and fruits. However, on the other hand, many studies showed that many people were consuming more comfort food, including sweets, fried food, processed food, and snacks food. And many people reported weight gain that was, according to several studies, linked to several factors, including reduced in physical activity, reduced sleep or inadequate sleep, also emotional eating related to stress and the mental depression or low self-esteem, low mood, in addition to changes in work routine. So we're staying more at home, there is no anymore like much structure and much like planned meals, etc.
Thank you.
Dr. Leila, after the pandemic, how to find our way to normal again? Is it a tips or a way to find our normalcy?
Yes, sure. Mainly, there are many tactics. Nowadays, it's when we talk about nutrition or healthy lifestyle, it's not just about the physical appearance. So we know that having a healthy diet or a healthy nutritional status or a healthy lifestyle is very related, or it affects our physical health. So it's not anymore something that's related just to be in perfect weight or in perfect shape. So, and especially with the consistent overconsumption of food or underconsumption of food sometimes for many people, this, when it's combined to more like sedentary lifestyle, it can lead to huge, very like detrimental side effects or like physical illnesses in addition to mental illnesses. So to cope with that, there are many tactiques we can follow in order to build habits, like useful habits somehow, that will help us be like, or resist or be able to do this transition to a normal life, if you want. So the first important thing, Rima, is to start with like small and successive goals. So a slow and like steady progress will always lead to success on the long run. So when we set goals, we need to pay attention that not to set like overwhelming goals that needs lots of overwhelming and to be accomplished somehow. So like, for example, let's say, so we cannot say just one day I want to go on daily basis into the gym. I need to cut on fast food. I need to like stop drinking alcohol. So this is very overwhelming and it needs much efforts to be accomplished. So instead we need to start with like small goals that are much easier to achieve, and they can like build, they are somehow as building blocks for future success. So instead of starting with everything all at the same time, you can start with one goal. Let's say I'm gonna start cutting on fast food. So, and until I reach this, okay, until I'll give it up. And once that's established, I can add additional objectives to the game. So, and the thing very important when we set goals that are realistic and motivating. So whether it's, let's say, packing my lunch to work instead of getting a takeout, or switching my afternoon pastry snack for fruits or veggies, these are goals very easy to achieve if you want, and they are not just healthy, but they give positive reinforcement as well. So setting goals, this is something very important, but we need to keep in mind to have like motivating goals, small goals, achievable one, and realistic ones. Another tip I can give to the audience as well is to develop a don't-do list. So take few time to reflect, okay, upon what are your unhealthy eating habits. So, and try to change, you can pick some of them that you want to work on first to improve, and try to change these unhealthy habits with the new healthy ones. For example, we can take an example. For example, if let's say upon reflecting on my unhealthy eating habits, I find like I eat too fast when I eat alone, so I can make a commitment with a friend or a neighbor to share a lunch together once per week. Another advice is to put your fork down whenever you are eating. And the most important thing is to try to set boundaries between eating and other activities. So in order not to be distracted somehow. We might not get this the first time, so it's not something easy. It needs time, but we can always keep on doing adjustments until we're doing better in this. Another tip also I can give is to try what is called mindful eating habits. So mindful eating habits is something that is taking a lot, reputation nowadays. So it involves the development of a new awareness. You get into the table whenever you eat. So it's about knowing, being present at the moment, and knowing your personal signs of satiety and hunger. So you're focused on what you eat, you notice when you are full and you stop. So adopting this kind of mindful eating, it helps us feel like more aware about what we are doing, and feeling like satisfied with eating less, or it makes you feel full like with eating portions they are less. Yeah. Okay, a preparation and ahead of time, so being prepared about what are the snacks you have at home, what you are intending to eat, or what you're intending to snack on, so this is very important. And somehow, if you started already while quarantine some of the healthy habits, such as you started on long walks, you're eating healthy, you're, for example, I don't know, some healthy habits. So you need to continue with doing that beyond quarantine. And if you didn't start doing so, you need to, this is a great time to start introducing them into your daily routine. Two things I would like also to emphasize on are sleep and exercise. So sleeping is very important. Our brains need sleep to function. So without sleep, we tend to overeat. We tend to choose unhealthy food. We tend to be also moodier, irritable, less patient and focused. So it does not help us with the healthy eating, or if weight loss was a part of the norm we are thinking of. So try always to get enough sleep, so 6 to 9 hours for adults. of good quality sleep. And what is very important, that sleep deprivation, it affects our body release of ghrelin and leptin, which are two hormones that play a very important role in controlling appetite. So when our sleep is disrupted, the balance of these hormones gets affected in our body, and somehow it does not help with the appetite. Also, several studies, as you might know, that chronic sleep loss was related to increase in waist circumference and increased risk of obesity. Exercise also, I think, Wael will talk a lot about it, but exercise is very important. So engaging in physical activity, it does not just help us stay healthy or decreases our risk of getting disease or illnesses, but it improves our mental health as well. So, and it helps us with the weight management, it helps to improve our mood, it helps us be more focused, and also it helps us regulate the ghrelin and the leptin, so it helps us sleep better. Okay? These are mainly some of the tips. There are many other tips. I don't want to
go through it.
Get longer in that.
Dr. Leila?
Yes.
Here.
Sorry.
Can you help us? How can we maintain a healthy diet? Or how can we make the transition to a better diet, one step at a time?
Okay. Unfortunately, all of us, when we talk about diet, we focus on numbers. So we care about how many calories did I consume right now, about my weight on the scale. So, and this is sometimes for many people, is frustrating. So instead of focusing on numbers, we need to start focusing on consuming nutrient-dense foods. So because all the researches, studies, and everything show that it improves our physical health, overall health, and mental health. So I mean by that, to consume food that are high in nutrients such as iron, omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, vitamin B12, and folic acid or vitamin B9. So, and in order to get the most of these nutrients from food, we need to consume like diets that are high in vegetables, in fruits, low-fat dairy products. We need to also consume pulses, beans, legumes, in addition to healthy fats. I mean by that raw nuts, avocados, olive oil, and seeds, okay, and so on. Other than that, we need to make sure to have on each meal a variety of food. So we need to mix and to eat a variety of food from all the food groups, and in order to ensure we're getting adequate nutrition and adequate nutrients. Also proteins, protein-based snack or protein-rich snacks. So why to keep on hand protein-rich snacks? Because protein, they help us feel full for a longer time. So that's, with this, we avoid the crash we can like experience during the day after a tiring day or low energy levels. So we can always make sure that we have these protein-rich snacks on hand. To give examples for that, not to just say protein-rich snacks, we have the Greek yogurts, we have the nut butters, but healthy nut butters, avoid the one they are rich in processed hydrogenated oils or sugars. Raw nuts like almonds, walnuts, pecans, etc. And sure, we can get like protein bars in the market or other than that. Also, we need to limit our intake of fats, sugar, salt. Unfortunately, in times of stress similar to the lockdown, to the pandemic, and the days we're going through here in Lebanon, so many people turn to such foods. So the first thing, these are comfort foods somehow. So, but unfortunately, these are very high in fats, in sugar, in salt, and in calories as well, that may prove counterproductive, and it adversely affect our overall health. So, as a good habit to do that, read the labels. So we need to learn to read the labels, the nutrition labels found on the foods we eat, to learn about their ingredients and their nutritional value. Another good idea is to opt for healthier snacks and juices on hand. So similar to the snacks I mentioned before, the yogurt, the nuts. For the drinks, for example, instead of going to alcohol, we can have a sparkling water, hibiscus tea, infusions, and other than that. And we can do like fun mixes, so grapefruit with mint or like a green tea with oranges. They are very healthy juices we can combine together and enjoy in order to release some stress or to curb appetite, for example. It does not tell, when I say just to go to healthy snack, it does not tell that we have to cut out like completely on such comfort food. We can always enjoy them, but make sure to enjoy them always. We need to make sure to enjoy them mindfully and in moderation. And the last tip is very important tip we always forget about it is hydration. Hydration is very important. We need to make sure to drink always plenty of water. And by the way, our brains, they don't know if you are thirsty or hungry. So you need to keep your body well hydrated in order also to control appetite and hunger.
My last question. How diet and nutrition can affect our mental health? I guess it will be introduced to Dr. Shaheen.
By the way, this is a very important topic, and nowadays it's something very important talking about how our food affects gut microbiota or the intestinal flora. And current studies have focused on how increased snacking and increased consumption of comfort food, they increase the stress and increased level of anxiety and stress. And current evidence suggests that we can do damage to the gut microbiota while binging on such foods. So sticking or being adherent to a healthy dietary pattern such as the Mediterranean diet, high in fruits, vegetables, raw nuts, a moderate consumption of poultry, eggs, low-fat dairies, in addition to a very occasional rare intake of red meat, is associated with improved physical illness, but also improved physical health, but also with improved mental health. However, on the other side, consuming refined sugar and highly processed food or junk food has negative effects on the brain function, and it may increase inflammation, stress, and depression. However, we need to keep in mind that mental illness, the causes of mental illness are various. So irrespective of our dietary habits and our eating practices, unfortunately, mental illness somehow, it might always be there. Okay, yeah. So we need to always refer to someone to help us with this or to do the proper diagnosis and the proper treatment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Shaheen is with us to discuss this issue. خلينا نشوف معك دكتور شاهين من بعد ما شفنا مع دكتور ليلى.
So we move to you, Dr. Shaheen. So after we have seen with Dr. Leila the impact of diet on mental health, what can you tell us about the effects of the pandemic, of the quarantines, confinements on the mental health? How can we overcome mental health problems? And so what can you tell us about all of this? So first thing I would like to say that in many cases we have seen that people found their pleasure in eating. Because people were feeling distressed, they were anxious, and very often they resorted to eating to be able to release this stress. This is the main problem that we have seen during the pandemic. Besides that, we were all used to some kind of lifestyle where we can move freely from a place to the other, and suddenly we had to stay at home. So this has made us feel that we have lost part of our identity, that we have lost part of our social skills, because a human being is a social being first and foremost, and suddenly we were at home
without any spatio-temporal, without any limits for space and time. Suddenly everything was happening in the same room. We lost all our time and space limits and criteria. Sometimes we spent the whole day in our pajamas. Students and children were staying and following their classes from their bed over Zoom or over whatever other application. So we have lost these limits and criteria, which are also important for our identity. So this loss of our social dimension has limited our identities to either being a father, a husband, a child, while as a man, for example, I could have been working at my office as an employee, being productive, being environmental activist, political activist, to be moving in a different space, to discover my skills, my capabilities. So everything has stopped because time has stopped. We have lost our freedom of movement. We became like prisoners. So this social identity was lost, and we moved from a situation where we were absolutely free, where we were able to load off our energy, to a situation where we were prisoners, unable to move. And this, of course, generated fear, anxiety, fear for the future. And we have noticed during the pandemics that people sometimes stood on their balconies to be able to talk to their neighbors, because we as human beings, we need this social dimension of our life. We have also seen people somehow visiting each other from balcony to the other, because this is an important part of our life as human beings. Besides, we have also moved to a virtual world. So we know that for our mental health, the most important element is for the individual to have awareness of space and time. So suddenly we have moved to a virtual world. We were working remotely. Children were following their classes remotely. Maybe for adults it was a bit easier to adapt, but it was difficult for children to understand at the beginning that this face they are seeing on the screen is actually a real teacher, and not a game that they are playing. And this also has generated many mental and psychological disturbance, because we have lost actually the space and time elements and limits. And this was also reflected on communication between family members, and it has affected mental health. So in the same space, you had 5 or 6 or 7 people who were used to leaving their house in the morning, then coming back in the evening, staying together only for like an hour or two. And they each had something to keep them busy. So suddenly they had to stay with each other 24/7. This has also generated anxiety, and it was mainly very difficult for people who were more prone to mental illnesses. So in our clinics, we have seen an increase in depression cases, anxiety cases. So as a human being, we have also lost our defenses, our defense mechanisms. So each individual has their own defense mechanisms, and in this pandemic we have lost some of our defense mechanisms. We were not able to communicate with each other because we have lost our defense mechanisms. Children who were all day at home did not have the chance to to spend their energy. They had to find a way to spend this energy. They were angry. Mothers were angry. Fathers were angry. So this also has created communication problems within family members. So communication has always been an issue, and with the pandemic, it has become even more dangerous matter. We have seen an increase. I'm talking about Lebanon. We have seen an increase in domestic violence cases. We have seen cases of violence between parents and children, but also between brothers and sisters, who were very aggressive towards each other because we lost our freedom of movement, because this movement used to be our way, our way to load off our energy, our stress, etc. And because we were living in fear. In Lebanon, we had so many stressors because we were afraid and anxious on how to be able to move on. So many people lost their jobs. In Lebanon, we still do not have official statistics, but I know from my clinic, to which extent the anxiety cases have increased, and depression cases have increased. Especially amongst the children, which is something new for us as specialists. We have seen so many children diagnosed with depression, with SD. We have also seen many cases amongst the first responders who accompanied people who were dying, who accompanied people who lost family members because of COVID. So first responders also have suffered from post-traumatic stress disorders. And they were in need of very rapid response and interventions. They were seeing nightmares. They suffered from very high levels of anxiety. And we have to be able to discern between post-traumatic stress disorders and the symptoms of anxiety and fear. Because fear and anxiety is fear from something related to the present time or the future. But sometimes this leads to depression, and if it is not followed up appropriately, this might also lead to suicide. So at home, we have to be careful and to be observant of any of these symptoms. If we see that one of our family members is not eating anymore, does not want to go out anymore, these might be signs of depression. If they don't want to communicate with their friends, if they are always on social media, they don't want to communicate. These are very important indicators. Family members, parents need to be very aware of the danger of these indicators, and it's very important to be in touch with a specialist because these are signs of depression, and in a moment they can lead to suicide.
For this reason, speaking about such topics should not be a taboo. My question is, are there steps that can be taken in order to get out of such a situation? Can we do it alone? Usually, the cases that we are speaking about are cases of persons who do not want to leave bed, who do not want to go out. The most affected persons were women and the youth during the pandemic. So youth, adolescents, because they are the persons who move a lot, who go out a lot. So when parents notice that their children are not communicating with them, are becoming violent, are not going out anymore, they should be red flags, pushing parents to communicate with experts. Of course, we can help ourselves. All of us should train. Training is very important in order for us to combat depression. In Lebanon, we have a lot of green spaces where we can train, and we can also go to the gym. We should talk to others. We have to understand the reason behind their violence if they are acting in a violent way. And some of the things that we have noticed during this period is children fearing from going to school. When they went outside the classrooms for the first time, they were afraid. They were afraid of big spaces, open spaces. So the solution for us is to go out again, adapt to the environment where we are living, and if things go wrong, we need to visit a psychologist. In our clinics, we noticed that parents are becoming more and more scared because of all these awareness campaigns. And after the Beirut port explosion, several psychologists explained the importance of raising awareness. We had a lot of free of charge psychological services provided to persons who did not have the means to go to a psychologist because such services are not covered by the state nor by some service insurance companies. So I think that we need to ensure this commitment. We need to help parents whose children are facing mental issues. Thank you very much.
What life coaching is and how the life coach helps others.
First, I would like to thank you, to take this opportunity to thank you for choosing me as one of the guest speakers in this special event. It is indeed very exciting to see that mental health has become a hot topic and an area of interest in this region. Now, to answer you, I got asked this question a lot, and people do confuse us, many as psychologists, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. A life coach is somebody that helps you to gain awareness and clarify your goals and priorities. My role is to give you a better understanding of your thoughts, feelings, and of course to clarify to clarify and identify your options so you can take actions to change your life. And this obviously happens when you know how to recognize your skills and overcome challenges. Today and more than ever, especially in the light of the global pandemic, which had immense repercussion on mental health, it is crucial to regain perspectives and set priorities in our lives. And that's why each one of us needs a guide or a mentor.
Darine, I have a question. How to deal emotionally with uncertainty? Because the pandemic is uncertainty period. How to deal emotionally with that?
As you mentioned, Rima, let's be real. There's so much about COVID-19 and the economic crisis that is out of our control, and all other aspects that might be impacted from finances and working to socializing and travel. and I personally faced this. We faced some massive challenges and enormous changes that is out of our control. And in order to dominate these challenges, we need to create new strategies, new tools, new mindset in order to succeed. And I believe it's a very good point. While we cannot control what is happening to us, but we can definitely control ourselves, we can control our life. And the best time to do that is right now. You know, Rima, in adversity and in crisis, we are going through a set of strong emotions. And emotions play a very strong part in managing ourselves and creating resilience. We all respond in a certain way when we face adversity and crisis. So we might respond with shock, denial, avoidance, and maybe later on we become angry, frustrated, anxious, and we may even kick off. And what human nature doesn't like about change is the uncertainty. That's what we're facing now. So emotions play a very strong part in becoming resilient and being thankful for the achievements. Emotions also play a very strong part in being thankful for the achievements that happens to us.
So, Darine, the fact is that emotions play an important part in being resilient. But how we deal with emotions?
That's a great question, Sofia. I'll give you quick and very easy steps that can really help you, and it will be very effective. Number one is to start by journaling, listening to your thoughts, and set a time for that. This really helps you to enhance your self-confidence and control your emotions and to enhance the resilience. And number two is to audit your time. Get rid of anything that no longer matters to you. Number three, control your inner world. What you think and what you feel will affect what you do and the result that will happen no matter what the environment is. So what I want you to remember is always practice gratitude and positive self-talk.
Darine, you mentioned being resilient. What resilience is and why it is so important, and how to develop the resilience attitude inside us and for the people around us also.
Well, psychologists define resilience as the process, the adaptation in the face of a crisis, financial crisis, health stresses, or relationship stresses that sometimes we all face. And as much as resilience is bouncing back from the difficulties, from the difficult experience, it can also involve in a profound personal growth. I'd like to tell you more about it. I describe resilience as hiking or climbing a mountain without any trail. It takes time, strength, and the support from the people around you. It's like on your way back, you will face setbacks like normal life, but when you reach the top, you will look back and see how far you have come. So being resilient gives people strength needed to process and overcome hardship. And this is what we're facing nowadays. We really need to have this resilient mindset, because the lack of resilience makes you feel overwhelmed and stressed.
Okay, the last question is you.
Yes. So, Darine, how can we shift to a resilient mindset? And we would appreciate it if you had, some tips on ways to build our resilience.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the good news is resilient is not a fixed trait mindset, a personality. We're not born with it. It's a skill, and we can build it. For entrepreneurs, Building resilience is by rethinking the way we see setbacks and see them as catalysts for the future growth. So building resilience means rethinking what appears negative event and see it as the seed for future growth and success. There are I'm going to share with you some few tips how to build a resilient mindset. As entrepreneur, you need to make setbacks to your business. For example, what type of your business it's related to products, sales, and what are the consequences of the obstacles? Maybe lack of self-confidence, lack of motivation, or run of capital, or ineffective sales team. And you need to know the small and specific lessons you learned from this feedback and the larger big picture lesson excuse me, you're going to apply it on other aspects of business. And also, you need to build your day around solving meaningful problems and try to reduce the amount of decisions you're going to make, and try to make decisions, try to focus on the decisions that really matters. And that's why Mark Zuckerberg is known that he wears his outfit every day, the same outfit, because he wants to reduce the amount of decisions daily. So also, focusing on your purpose is an effective way to deal with the hard times in life and maintain perspective. You can build resilience by continually remind yourself that these problems are small and worthy of your purpose. So when you focus on your why, when you focus on your impact, you get motivated and you build resilient in your mindset. Also, make realistic plans and focus on the achievable goals. Communication skills is very, very, very important. Being able to communicate clearly and effectively helps people to get support from people and take actions. More ways to build resilience. Prioritize your relationships. Connecting with empathy and understanding people can remind you that you're not alone in this midst of difficulties. So focusing on the compassionate and trustworthy people who validate your feelings will support the skill of resilience. Take care of your body. I'm sure Layla and Wael will support this point. Promoting positive lifestyle, good exercise, healthy food, hydrating. What else?
Having fun?
Huh?
Is it allowed? Having fun?
Yes, of
Okay.
course, of course. All these strengthen your body and reduce the stress hormone, right, Wael? And the anxiety and depression. Also, practice mindfulness. I do this all the time. Mindful journaling, yoga. When you mindful and meditate, you ruminate the positive aspects of your life and recall the things you are grateful for. So you focus on the positive things in your life. Help others. Help others create a hormone. They call it oxytocin. I hope I spell it good. It's love hormone. So it's very crucial to help others and be proactive. It's very helpful to acknowledge and accept your emotions during hard time. Embrace healthy thoughts, as the speakers mentioned today. How do you think you can play a significant part in how you feel and how resilient you are when you face obstacles? If you feel overwhelmed by a challenge, remind yourself that it's not an indicator of your future and you're not helpless. I want you to think that you may not be able to change the stressful events. That's what's happening nowadays, but you can change the way you interpret and respond to it. Finally, seeking help. I've left this till the last because it's very important. Getting help when needed, it's crucial in building your resilience. I find it's very important to know that you're not alone on this journey. You can manage with the support of loved ones and trusted professionals.
Thank you, Dani.
Great.
Coach Wael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone agreed that we need exercise.
Yes.
How can exercise help us to change our mood and to be more successful?
Okay, great. I'm going to try to go as fast as possible because I'm aware we're
The
late
time,
on time. See, energy and emotion start with the thought, but we experience it in the body. So just to give an example, like the fight or flight response, which is the stress response, it's made fight or flight mean we need a lot of energy, whether to fight or to run away. Meaning the body is preparing itself, breaking down energy to actually do big action. So if people just sit and do nothing, what's going to happen eventually is going to start to break down the system, the immune system, the bone. So when we move the body, every time we feel stress, we're actually using this energy and eventually creating more of the calm hormones that actually relaxes the body. So mind and body are connected. If you cannot control your mind, at least move your body.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to start.
What kind of exercise do you recommend? You think we need to do it?
When people want to start, anything is good. The easiest way to exercise is walking. Now, higher intensity exercise give us better results in terms of emotions. But if someone never exercised and want to start high intensity, the mind really say it's hard, you cannot, physically you can't. So let's do the thing that we do naturally, which is walking. Once we walk and we start moving, then we can go into higher speed, and then we can increase into, add the stretching, which is relaxing, but then add something that actually release more of the tension, like moving at higher intensity. Weight training definitely is wonderful because it changes our posture. You've seen people when they have muscles, they just go like this. They have more muscles, they go like this. And now when you change your posture, you have a different look at life. So you might say, why are you so pumped like this? Well, lucky you, because they're actually feeling good about it. So it doesn't matter where we start, just we start and we add it up gradually. So walking at the beginning is wonderful.
Great.
Coach Jay, I promised Ruba that I will call you Coach Jay. I'm sorry I had to do that.
I like
long? Yeah, you're Coach Jay for us.
Yeah.
How long a session should be? What is the duration of a session so as to be considered beneficial for us?
Okay, that number is really different because people who are working out at moderate speed, not intense, they would need probably around an hour. Mm-hmm. If they want to add stretching, that's hour 15 minutes. If they want to add weight training, then it's become an hour and a half. And then when people say like, oh my God, that's too much, then they wouldn't start. So if you can reach gradually to higher intensity, you can get all the benefits within 25 minutes. So now when we are looking for physical change, it's something different than we're looking for emotional change. Mm-hmm. To change our emotion, we need to move our body, do the minimum, we breathe and do some stretching. It can be done within 30, 35 minutes. Now, once you get 35, you can do 45, and now you can add a little bit more, and you start to see the benefits, and now you're more excited to get some more. So 30 minutes will be a great start.
Sounds, manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all know that exercise is good for us.
Yes.
It's a fact. What would you advise for someone who can't seem, to make that decision to start?
Okay. Usually there are two reasons why we can't start exercise. First reason, not worldwide, this is worldwide, right? No time. Yeah. When we say no time, there are two reasons. Our mind is saying, I have other priorities, even though there shouldn't be any other priority other than our health first. But being responsible, loving for the family, loving for the job, loving for responsibility, we start to feel we have other priorities, so no time for exercise right now. So we keep on pushing it. Mm-hmm. The second reason, when we say no time, most people believe that exercise needs to be an hour and a half to 2 hours. Going to the gym, you need to park the car, you need to change your clothes, you need to start the workout, finish the workout, take a shower, go back home. Really, that's 2.5 hours. When you have so many responsibilities, 2.5 hours is not possible. So the first thing we need to know that we can exercise and get like 80% of the health benefits just by 30 minutes. And it can be done at home, in your bedroom, anywhere. I wouldn't recommend there because you really, for the mindset, as we're saying, go somewhere, you know, to change the emotions. But when people want to start, I would even say 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Now, you tell me 5 minutes is going to do anything? No, it's not. But we need to understand our brain. Our brain is saying, I can because I don't have time, but it cannot negotiate with 5 minutes. And the thing is, when we start 5 minutes, and then I recommend this 5 minutes to be in the morning. Why? Because to start something new, you need self-discipline. And self-discipline is a muscle. It gets tired. When you use it all day long, you reach at the end, you have drain. You just want to sit and do nothing. So the best time is really to start it in the morning after you have a good night of sleep, your self-discipline is high, and now you do this 5 minutes, which is not going to do much, except after 21 days, the brain is going to take it as a habit. And once it's a habit, you don't need the energy and the effort. And now you can take it to 10 minutes, another 5 minutes, and now 15 minutes. And now when it's 20 minutes, you can transfer it anyway in the day because now it's a habit. And now you can reach to 30 minutes. And later on, who knows, 1 hour and a half, if you want, it's up to you. But at least you got 80% of the benefits.
All of us exercised for 2 minutes earlier this morning because we broke the ice with you. You remember?
Exactly.
So we had started to build the
I would like to add something regarding this small move. For many years, people would say, whenever I send a voice message, they can sense the energy. Okay? And then I realized that I wouldn't send the message sitting. Anytime I want to send the message, I just stand up, start walking, and now I press. Because the physical energy is transferred into actually the mental and all of that. So these 1-2 minutes, you might think it's nothing, but actually just changing your posture, your physical, moving, doing some yes and screaming. At the beginning, they thought I'm crazy at home. Now they're used to it, okay, especially in the morning. And it will change that energy, and what's going to happen is it's going to train you start to do more calls, you start to contact the hard people you think you can. Just start with the physical, and it will affect the mental. That's a promise.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Coach.
All of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, our guests. Wellness is a good topic, and they need so much time to discuss. I think we don't have enough time today. Thank you for Sophia for being a moderator with me. And now I think we have a 10 minutes break. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Before we go to the break, a small jest from Liz.
You.
Thank you so much for being with us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And we will take one picture together. And thank you, Rima and Sophia. Thank you so much.